Hello, my name is d-floe and today we're going to be talking about line work. Now, before I get into the video, I think it's important to address the elephant in the room. It's been a long time since I made another video like this. Almost 1.5 years since I posted how to color and no sign of another video for miles. So, where have I been? Not very far actually. I had originally planned to make this video 2 freaking weeks after how to color, and yet, here we are. So what happened? I really wanted to make this video, but every single time I started planning in my head, a new piece of information would come up and completely change the way that I approach line work. So I got so caught up in the idea of making the video that I never actually went around to making it. Anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about lines. I like to split up line work into 2 different groups: line economy and line quality. Each of them are very important for creating interesting and catching shapes and forms. Even if you're not into line art per se, these principles still are crucial to sketching and painting. Also, a short disclaimer, I'm just a student. The things I teach are merely an amalgamation of my findings from studies, and I am not by any means a master of my craft by any regard. Take everything I have to say with a grain of salt. First and foremost, let's talk about line economy. Line economy refers to the amount of strokes that you use to convey your lines. Good line economy often demonstrates clear and concise lines when portraying your shapes and forms. A classic beginner mistake when drawing lines is the all too common habit of chicken scratch. Chicken scratch is when you use several hairy strokes to convey a single line. This often stems from 3 things: a lack of line confidence, the way you hold your pen, and the joints on your body you use to draw. Building line confidence is the backbone of drawing good lines. There are a few exercises you can use to build line confidence, but I recommend practicing ellipses, line segments, and gestures. These may seem arbitrary and taxing to do, but trust me, when you see the results, you'll want to do it more. Another way you'll be able to build line confidence is knowing how to actually hold your pen. If you find yourself holding your pen all the way towards the tip, you're not giving yourself the full leverage of the pen, and that can often reinforce the chicken scratch habit. The third method is to draw more with your arm. Our fingers are tiny and inflexible. Their range of motion is limited and stiff. Depending on how large you're planning to make your stroke, I recommend drawing with your wrist, elbow, and shoulder. This allows you to draw more freely and accurately. You'll not only be able to draw with better lines, but you'll also be able to draw with more energy. The more you build these basic foundations, the stronger your line economy will get. Focus on delivering your strokes with ease and confidence. It will not only make your drawings better, but also improve the speed you work at. Now that we covered our bases in line economy, let's talk a little bit about line quality. In a lot of ways, line economy ties into the concept of line quality, because you just can't have good line quality without good line economy. Now, before we talk about line quality, there's one important thing to think about first and foremost. When you're drawing anything with construction, try to think of space and 3-dimensional forms. We're not drawing lines on a paper. Rather, we're representing and sculpting forms with these lines. This is incredibly crucial to the way you convey your lines, and if you think and draw in terms of shapes and forms, your drawings will look stronger and more believable. You may be scratching your head and thinking, how do I convey 3-dimensional space with a 2-dimensional medium? And the answer is you can't, but you can fake it. A great way to pull this off is to draw with line weight. Line weight can refer to the subtle or drastic contrast in the thickness and hardness of your line, and it's a great way to show distance, overlap, and contact between objects and details. Take these shapes for an example. Which feels like it conveys more space and distance? This one, right? They're both the same examples, but using the line weight, we're able to convey a stronger feeling of space. Here are 3 guidelines that I recommend thinking about when drawing your lines. Number 1. Lines should all have a variation in thickness. Try to avoid bent wire lines like this one. Number 2. If the line ends in open space, it should taper to a point. And number 3. The thickest point of a line should be at the bottom of the shape that the line is representing. Art is full of helpful guiding principles, but an important thing to know is that there are no rules. If it looks good, then it is good. That being said, here's a quick list of lines to generally avoid. Heavy or misplaced thick and thin, wire bent, uncontrolled, choppy, bold outlines, and broken lines. Remember, no amount of good line quality will fix a poorly structured drawing. So how do you know how to weigh your lines? What constitutes a proper thick and thin line? The general idea behind it is proximity, or the space between forms. The further a form is, the stronger the line should be. When an object is pushed up against another one, like in this example, the thickness of the line decreases. You can play around with this concept and mess with implied lines. The range of thickness is really up to you. Another way to improve your line quality is to play with different tips. This mainly applies for digital, but from what I've discovered playing around with brushes is that this brush tip and other calligraphy brushes make for a really good line quality. In a way, it sort of robs you of a little bit of control in comparison to the round, standard circle brush, but in turn allows you to implement line weight in ways you otherwise would have never done before. Discovering this brush was a personally really revolutionary change of pace, because it changed how I worked drastically. Originally, I used to first draw a sketch and then try to trace over the sketch with a circle brush, but from what I found was a significant decrease in quality between the sketch and line work. However, after I began using this calligraphy brush, I threw out the sketch phase entirely and started my drawings with line work straight from the get-go. This allowed me to preserve a natural flow through the finished piece and also save hours of my time in work. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know many of you were waiting in anticipation for my next proper video, and I thank you for being so patient with me. If you're interested in joining a fun community, come check out our Discord server, Shamed. We run events, make art, play video games, and all around just have a great time. People from all kinds of backgrounds and interests hang out here, so come by and give it a try. Thanks for watching.